Hello. All right, so today we are talking about synonyms. Last time, whenever that was, you had lessons with antonyms, which we know are words that have the opposite meaning, like rough and smooth and big and small, right? Well, synonyms, you may already know, are words that have the same or very similar meaning. It kind of even sounds like the name synonym, nim, name, sim, same. So, same or very similar meanings. And I also want to point out this comes in handy when you get older and you're writing papers, but even now in your sentences, if you want to find a synonym for a word that you're using that's maybe kind of more of what we call like a generic word, like good, if you want to find another word for good that's a little meatier, has a little more oomph, you may want to check out a thesaurus. So I just thought I'd write that down for you because thesaurus is kind of a long, funky word. It's not a dinosaur. Back in my day, it was an actual book that we would look words up instead of a dictionary. It's a book that's full of synonyms. But now we have everything online. So you can, just like you can go to dictionary.com and find a definition for a word, you can go to thesaurus.com, I believe, and find all kinds of synonyms. But you have to be careful because sometimes they do get a little they'll kind of veer off and yeah, but you won't have to worry about that right now in the second grade or whatever grade you're in listening to this. So, without further ado, let's talk about some synonyms. Let's see some examples. All right, I'll put this down so you can see. So we have synonyms. So healthy is very similar to nutritious. But depending on how you want to use those in a sentence, you could say, I've been exercising and eating well and I'm feeling very healthy. But we wouldn't necessarily, in that kind of sense, be able to substitute nutritious because we could say that same sentence, I've been exercising and eating well and I'm feeling very nutritious. No, not so much. So again, just to point out, based on how you use them, all right, the meal that we prepared is very healthy. The meal that we prepared is very nutritious. Fussy has a very similar meaning to cranky. What do we think a similar word to glad would be? I'm feeling glad, I'm feeling happy. Now, we may argue that happy is a stronger feeling than glad, and that's okay, but they're very close to having the same meaning. Another word for night would be, if you know it, call it out. Evening. Good night, good evening. This one I always feel is a little more formal. Well, have a good evening. I feel a little fancy when I say it. My words kind of got mixed up over here. Starving. Hungry. Again, starving is definitely a stronger than hungry, but you get the idea. Pretty. Beautiful. simple, easy. Simple and easy. Road and street. Youngster and tot. You don't hear either one of those too often. You're all youngsters. Child and kid. You hear those more often. Then we have keeping along the same kind of motif, we have baby and infant. We already did glad and happy. World, earth. Globe and planet. Ill and sick. And finally, noisy and loud. So there, kind of make that so you can see better. These are all of our examples for synonyms, and there are of course more than this. This is just where we're at today. Kind of looks, I'm looking now, it looks a little off, but. So your follow-up work is simple or easy enough. You will have matching, and they are different words than we've done here, but you will match. Number one, talk. Another word for talk would be F, chat. So I would write F right there next to number one. Okay? Or if you're doing this on Seesaw and you want to actually draw the line, that's cool too, but preferred method, put in the letter next to the synonym. Okay? It gives you the definition again. A synonym is a word that means the same or about the same as another word. This one, instead of writing the letter to match, you're just going to write the word. So another word for nasty would be nasty. Would be maybe mean and nasty, right? Now, if you're not quite sure, because like when I first read nasty, I was thinking like gross, which I didn't see up here. And if you're not quite sure, use the strategy of skipping it and come back. Go to number two, old. Ancient. Ancient is another word for old. And then after you know which ones, then you can easily fill in, because you have 8 here and you have 8 words up here, so every word will be used once. Okay, so you have writing the word, the synonym, and then you have choosing. It says read each sentence and its corresponding choices. Circle the word that is a synonym of the underlined word. So number one, I want to own a large house when I am an adult. So another word for adult would be A, parent, B, grown up, or C, teenager. It would be B, grown up. So even though parents are adults, our parents are adults, it doesn't mean necessarily the same thing. Not all adults are parents. Like me, for example. I'm an adult, but I don't have any children, so I'm not a parent. So the better synonym would be grown up. Okay, so I just want to point that out. Number two, my great-grandfather is 101 years old and still alive. So he's still healthy, dancing, or living. Well, alive means the same thing as living. So we don't know for sure if he's healthy or not. And we don't know if he dances. but the word that means about the same thing, living. So just pay attention to these. These are a little bit like you got to have a little bit more discernment, or, be able to choose more carefully for these. So take your time to read them and to fill in the correct letter for the word. So that will be your follow-up work. Enjoy synonyms. I'll see you later.